for tuning in to Lady Kate's Chronicles podcast. So, this particular topic is near and dear to my heart. If I can do a title, it will be Sis, It's Time to Rest Up. We're going to talk about rest and why it's important. Number one, like I said from my previous podcast, if you didn't know, I'm Haitian. So, growing up in a Caribbean household, rest is only allowed for two reasons. One, you're sick. One, it's bedtime. Okay? So, those are the two reasons why you should be like resting up. And when I started to go to college and, just going through life, right? Because I got married in my late 20s, I realized rest is really important. And I didn't know how to rest. To show you how I didn't know how to rest, there was one time I had a flu and I went to the doctor and I was like, I'm not feeling well and I gotta be on it. I have like I have had a checklist so long. And the doctor's like, okay, but in order to do the checklist, you need to be better, right? And I'm like, of course. Of course. And he's like, so I need you to do two things. I need you to hydrate and I need you to rest. I said, okay, no problem. And so I was like, okay, day off, took a day off from my job, and I was in bed. I was in bed with a laptop, writing emails, sending emails, doing work. And then finally, I was like, you know what, Caitlin, you're supposed to be resting. I'm like, I closed the laptop. Guess what? My mind was going through a mental checklist. Did I do this? Did I do? It was so hard for me to rest. I have a therapist, and everyone should have a therapist. I sat with my therapist, and I was just saying, listen, I didn't realize rest was so hard. And she's like, what? And I was just like, and I went on to tell her, like, I didn't know how to turn it off. And then she's like, Caitlin, that's a problem. And I'm like, it is, and I need help turning it off. How I turn it off is a few things. Number one, when I rest, I don't have the TV on. I don't have any show on or anything because I really need to take a nap and I don't need any distractions. And I think a lot of time when we say rest, there's two ways we can rest. Number one, a lot of us, to show you how you're not resting, you can go to sleep and your mind is still going that you sleep. You talk through your sleep, going through all your checklists. I'm a victim of it too. Like my husband was like, yeah, you was talking about something about fashion. Like I think it was during I get a little stressed during fashion week back in the days. And I would literally, like, even when I'm sleeping, but I'm sleep talking about the things that I need to do. And my husband was like, babe, you were like talking about all of this. And I was like, oh my God, I need to turn it off. And I know I'm not the only one. You go to sleep and you have and before you finally go into that deep sleep, you have to learn how to check like turn it off. It's like a mental tap. You turn you're closing all the windows. And I can't do that with the TV on. You know how some people that cannot sleep, they have to hear noise. For me, I need stillness. I need nothing. I don't want to hear anything, when I'm about to rest. Now, there's another type of rest where you are awake and you're just taking the time and you're just sitting down, reading a book, doing the things that cause you to unplug. That's another form of rest. And I think that is so important. A mental rest is great. Spiritual rest is amazing. Is going to the church, going to a gathering like-minded folks, and you guys talk about God and you think about His promises over your life, and you look back to see where you've been. Like things like that are really, really, they're like a medicine to your soul. But I want to talk about a time rest saved my life. um well, God was teaching me rest, and it wasn't like, oh, something that happened within a week. No, it took years for me to understand what rest is and do it properly. Okay, it took me years. Okay. Um so I took a day off. I don't work on Mondays. Mondays are like my Sabbath. I don't do much. I go work out now, and then I come home, I do my meditation, and then I'll just, that's it. That's all the laboring I'm doing that week, that day, because I need to be very intentional. Like I said in a previous podcast, my attachments, meaning the different roles that I play in my life and the impact that I've done, is because I wanted to be a better version of myself, and that comes, and rest plays a big part of it. A lot of us are walking frustrated. It's because we have not rest. I'm gonna say it again. A lot of us are walking frustrated. It's because most of us have not rested. So how rest saved my life? There was one day. It was on a Monday, and I had pain, and I gave birth to my second son, Zion, and it was like a year and a few months in. I suffered preeclampsia, and that was another form of teaching me how to rest, because my blood pressure refused to go down no matter what I ate, no matter how much I exercised. It was one of those things, like it was just refusing to go down. When I implemented date like rest, things start to normalize for me. And one day I was feeling this pain, and this pain was different from any other pain I've experienced on my left breast. And I was just like, oh, this pain, am I having a heart attack? That was the first thing I thought. I was like, am I having a heart attack? Is this what it feels like? And then all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. And then I was asking God grace at that moment. And then there was no one in the house. And I was like, God, please regulate my breathing. So can I at least call my doctor's office? So that happened. I regulated my breathing. And then I called my doctor's office. And she told me to go straight to urgent care. I went to urgent care. I took an Uber to go to urgent care in Brookline. And when I went there, they did all the tests, and to them, everything seemed normal. And I was just like, I'm not leaving here. I'm telling you, something is wrong. And there was a nurse that looked like me. Noticed like if she says something's wrong, there's something's wrong. Then she said, okay, let's do an ultrasound just to make sure everything is just legit, like everything is fine. So we did the ultrasound, and in the ultrasound they found mass in my milk ducts. And it was three places it was hiding. And then immediately it's okay, we got to do a biopsy. And did the biopsy, and come to find out it was cancer. And usually when I feel pain, and this is why rest is so important, because our body speaks to us every day. But we only listen to our body when we're like dead tired or when we're hungry, right? But our body speaks to us every day, like about everything, right? It tells you if it needs more water. It tells you if it needs rest. It tells you when something is wrong. But I think we got into the hustle and bustle of things in society that we neglect the communication between us and our body. Okay. And when those 6 words like wrung out, I was like, okay. Now I'm gonna go back a little bit because this is a Christian podcast and God is all over this thing, okay? But let me tell you about the power of God. My husband and I, we lead a church, Free Pentecostal Church of God in Dorchester. And during the 40 days, I was really adamant about breaking generational curses in my family. And one person that really talked about it was Tiffany Montgomery. She was just like, there's some things that's going from to generation in your family. You have the authority to break it. And then during the 40 days, I was like, God, I want to break generational curses in my family, generational hurt, whatever it is that does not align with your promises and your word over my life. I want to break it. It stops with me. And one of the things he highlighted was diseases in my family. It wasn't until I got the word of cancer and then I told my family about it. That's when my aunt just told us, oh my goodness, like 5 women in my family died of cancer, specifically breast cancer. My mom passed away of breast cancer. And but one thing, when I noticed the mass, that when they showed me the ultrasound, I heard the Spirit of God said, it stops with you and I'm going to change the narrative. Join me on July 23rd. Yes, it's a Wednesday because it's Wellness Wednesday from 4 to 8 p.m. Come with me and others who dare to breathe again. I said, okay. So even when I was going through, because I had to go through radiation, I had to do surgery, even when I was going through that journey, I never forgot. I never forgot the word of God that he said over my life. And the reason why I want to talk about it, because I think a lot of times we neglect the communication that we have with our body. And sometimes God is telling you, hey, red light. When you're driving a car and the car is telling you that something's wrong, the engine light goes on, and all these light is just going like this, it's telling you, hey, I'm going to break down soon if you don't do something about it. And unfortunately, in certain cases, breakdown does happen. But I believe that when you rest, I'm going to go through a couple of things. I've done some research. And of course, I wanted to share my personal testimony on how rest saved my life, because I think it's so important to talk about it, because growing up in a Caribbean home, rest wasn't like a thing. But the thing is, you are more productive when you rest. When you rest, there's clarity, right? When you're still, God pours and speaks clearer to you, and he pours more things over you and into your life. Like, there's some things we're so busy that it's when we don't even have time to properly have a communication with God, because we're walking through this life so busy, so just a lot. Okay. So I wanted to talk about rest and share the verse that I have for you. Rest is essential because God himself rested after creation, demonstrating its importance, and because it allows us to be replenished. Our strength, both physically and spiritually, and draw to God through quiet reflection and prayer. This is basically saying God, the creator, the eternal God, the anointed one, the ancient one, okay? God, who created the world in 6 days, rested on the seventh. Now, I'm not here to tell you to rest every day because, you know, God don't like lazy people. Proverbs talks about lazy people. Okay? God don't like lazy people. In a sense, when I say God don't like lazy people, in order for God is not a genie where you just give him your three wishes and it poof it happened. No, he wants you to do the work. Right? God is very intentional that even when he's speaking, even when he's creating, you see the work happen. In the 6 days, he worked. He spoke, he molded man, he worked for 6 days, and on the seventh, he rested. And what I love about the scripture, it says, on the seventh day, not only he rested, he called it holy. There's holiness all around you, just being still in this presence, you resting. And here we are, beings. We're not eternal. We're limited, right? And we're just going, the commercial, the Energizer Bunny, just going and going and going and going and going. And then a few later they change the battery behind his little bag and going and going and going and going. No. Children of God don't keep going, 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 going without resting. How do you hear from God if you keep going? Right? Psalm 46 said, be still and know that I am God. When do you let God pour in? If you keep going and going and going and going, right? An example that I love is that, during your rest, okay, I'm gonna give another example. Do you notice that when you take a shower, because everything is just so calm, some of your best ideas comes in the shower? Because you're not distracted. You're not busy. You're focusing on just cleaning. And everything just comes in. This is this peace that comes with taking a shower. That's why instead of taking a 15-minute shower, it comes to like 30 to 45 minutes sometimes, because you're just dwelling in this space and understanding like, ooh, wow, this was good, right? Can you imagine that you purposely take time during the day to rest? I have kids, right? I said I have a toddler and a teenager. I have both extremes. I wake up an hour early than the house wake up to spend time with God. And I stay up an hour late to close out with God, right? To close the day with God. But then when I'm resting, my phone is on the other side of the room. My laptop is in my office most times. TV is off. I want to hear clarity. I want to be able to rest. Rest, cuz life is already hard. Why we're making it harder? Like when we're not resting, we're damaging our bodies cuz we're making it going overdrive. We're doing the most. Okay. So let me talk about the physical and mental aspect of resting. Number one, rest is essential for physical and mental well being, allowing the body and mind to recover and regain strength. So it's almost like you unplugging. You know how you need a reboot? Some of us need a reboot. Okay. It's unplugging, staying for a while, and then we're back on, right? God designed our body to have need of rest. Neglecting it can lead to burnout, stress, and other negative consequences. Because the way God created our body, if God the eternal rested, okay, and he has no flaws, but we're a flawed being, we need rest. The way he created our bodies, there's the morning, there's the night, right? And so you need to sleep. You can't do 24 hours or 20 42 hours just keep going and not, I used to be in this team called Team No Sleep on vacation. I'd be like, Team No Sleep, because I wanted to try every excursion. I wanted to do absolutely everything. By the time I come home, I need a vacation for my vacation. I did not rest not one time. My husband, he's a total opposite of me. He's like, "Can we enjoy the room that we paid for the week? Can we just enjoy the balcony?" And I'm like, "No, we need to get on a jet ski. We need to do the parachute. We need to do the." I'm like doing the most. And then when I'm on the plane, I'm like, "Oh my God, I gotta go back to work the next day." I'm like, "Ooh, I can't. I need a vacation from my vacation." And that vacation is just simply lie in bed, not doing nothing. I don't hear mommy. I don't hear babe. It's more like, just sleep. Right. And so I think it's so important that we need to include rest every day. Whether it's you sleeping early, then you do that. You do that. Stop making it seem like you can't do certain things. You do that. After God, you are the CEO of your life. If you don't like something, God gives you the power to change it. If you don't like, come on, stop it. We act like we don't have authority. We're walking around like orphans, like God haven't given us the promises, God haven't given us the strategy, like God hasn't given us what we need to be successful in this life. Stop it. Stop it. Remember who you are and remember who you belong to. Okay? Now, rest allows us to be more effective in our work, in our ministry. What I love about this is when I got sick and a doctor was just like, and this is me, I'm talking about when I had cancer. I had to purposely set an alarm when I'm taking my nap. And my nap usually happened after I have a radiation. And I needed some time because when you're going through radiation, when you're going through these treatments, it takes a lot out of you. You don't even feel like eating, you don't feel like doing, you just need a nap, like a good nap. So I've learned, and my job was so gracious and understanding. So I've learned to purposely take my nap time. Like even with my kids, like when Zion's home earlier than usual, and and he's with me, I'll be like, okay, it's mommy's nap time, and he'd be like, Mom, I don't want to take a nap. I was like, no, it's mommy's nap time. And by the time we all lay down, we both fell asleep. So you have to be so serious about the life that you have that you're doing absolutely everything that is necessary for you to be a better version of yourself. Okay. So that is one. And the mental aspect is, I wrote, be sure to give your brain a break by spending time on something that doesn't require intense processing. Meditation on God's word. Okay. We, that's the only meditation I'm going to, recommend. Wake up in the morning, take a few moments, think about the goodness of the Lord. You know, I don't think it, I don't think you guys realize how it's such a blessing to wake up with all your senses and all your like all yourself. There's people while they're sleeping, they have stroke. While they're sleeping, the heart gave out. While they're sleeping, they have all this terror, like night terrors going on. They woke, they can't sleep, they can't. You know what I'm saying? Like you waking up. Mind you, I'm not saying your life is perfect, but what I'm saying, you waking up, you're in your right mind. There's a peace that surpasses your understanding. Like you can't understand, like where does peace come from? Meditate on God's word and promises. Okay. And another thing, read a book, pray, take few deep breaths. Okay. Go on walks. Talk to your father. Go on walks, talk to your father. And it goes into the spiritual rest that I want to get into it. Resting in God means trusting that He is in control and that we can rely on His provision and guidance. When you rest, you basically are saying, God, it's on you now. Like that's a God-sized problem. Okay? Like that's a God problem. That's not my problem. That's a God problem. Right? Resting in God's grace shows a sign of humility and of faith. You are what you believe, right? Right? You are what you believe, right? You became what you believe, and that belief comes with faith, right? And so by you taking rest, you're not trying to make decisions on your own. You're a child of God. You have someone that is responsible for you. Someone said, cast your cares on me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Come on, let's do an exchange. You know what I'm saying? And so that alone is so important for you to remember. One of the strategies of the enemy is to keep you busy. Because when you're busy, you don't have time to pray. When you're busy, you don't have time to rest. Then it brings on stress, and stress is a silent killer for everything. It attracts all type of diseases. It attracts depression, it attracts anxiety, and this is why we need to be very alert and aware of our surroundings and ourselves. Guard your heart. Guard your heart, guard your mind. And one of the ways that you can do that is by resting. Resting is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Resting is not a luxury, it's a necessity. All right, so thank you guys. So, this is all that I have for you today. Just before I leave, I just want to highlight that I am wearing a UK based designer. The company name is called The Chemist. I have a few pieces from her. I got like 5. This is one of my favorites. I'm pretty sure you've seen it in my Instagram. It is so flowy, it's heavy enough, for the changing season that we're in right now. And I love it. It's flowy, it's light, and it gives me the warmth that I need. Okay, so also I'm gonna put where you can send your prayer requests, because I would love to pray for you. And also, if you want to book a consulting session as well, I will put down my website where you can just send me an email or send me a message, and we'll respond to you within 24 hours. Okay, all right, God bless, have a great day. Sis, time to exhale. Notes. Let me see. Oh, this is a book.
Right wheel.
Where is that piece of? Sorry. Bloopers. Sorry. All right.